Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network. Better believe it, as always, you just never know what's going to happen around this place. Just after the top of the hour on a Tuesday night, February the 16th, 2016, Beyond Ringside Back to Basics. You got it. Thank you to everybody listening in through BeyondRingside.com, as well as through the Beyond Ringside mobile app for Android, Amazon, and BlackBerry. Thank you to everybody hanging out this evening on the TuneIn Radio app, available across format. And of course, keep your eye open on BeyondRingside.com, as well as our YouTube feed. Doing a little bit of crossover to Daily Motion as well as archive.org. Got a lot of things happening right now with Beyond Ringside Sports Radio. Schedule's been a little bit nuts over the last couple of weeks, and I apologize for that one. Of course, I have not really had an opportunity to say. I want to say a very special welcome aboard to everybody with Corner to Corner, broadcasting on Thursday nights, 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time. There may be a schedule change for Corner to Corner. It's going to be a catch-as-catch-can circumstance because there's a lot of things coming up in the next couple of months. And the Thursday night time slot is a solid time slot, but I know that there's a couple of things that we're looking at as far as updating and changing over the time slots for Corner to Corner. Thank you for everybody's patience while I've been trying to get some things caught up. Unfortunately, life does get in the way around the Radio Ranch, and I don't get a chance to get everything finished out and caught up on all of the different podcast feeds that we run. So for everybody who's been patient over on Spreaker, Stitcher, Podomatic, iTunes, iHeartRadio, thank you so much for your patience. You know, a story that I was going to cover this past weekend, the 8 p.m. airing of Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network drew an estimated 136,000 viewers. And that's according to Mitch Salem of Showbuzz Daily. That was up approximately 11,000 viewers from the previous week's episode, which is also up big time from the January 27th Season 2 premiere. Hang on one second. For those who have not had an opportunity or taken the opportunity to catch Lucha Underground on the El Rey Network, you're missing a really good product. They bring in some recognizable faces. There are going to be a lot of faces you may not know unless you keep up with AAA, CMLL, AAA, and some of the others. But unless you genuinely keep up with the Lucha Libre scene, you may not recognize a lot of the people. And I've said this for a long time. So what? Really? That's the whole point of trying different products. And that is the optimism involved in seeing new faces, seeing new styles, seeing new personalities in action, hearing new voices. That's why I've said for the longest time, as it pertains to it, the product Lucha Underground put out last season turned out for me to be appointment television. Whereas this season, the new season 2, has been that much more. I've really enjoyed what they've done. The storylines have been good. It's a little bit of a darker project as far as the way that they present it on air. And some would say a little bit more dramatic by nature. But by the same token, I'm going to lay this one out there. I like the feel of the product. I like the look of the product. I like the chemistry that they've got involved in this whole scenario. Matter of fact, want to bring him in. Normally my tag team partner on the Shooters Gallery Saturday morning. Shane Knowles, how you doing, brother?
Good. How are you, Fast City?
Fair to partly cloudy. Weird day around the radio ranch, but definitely looking to have some fun all the way through. Now, I have to ask, first off, how much of Lucha Underground have you been able to catch this season so far?
How about zilch for this
Damn.
evening? My apologies.
Oh, no, that's cool.
I am still catching up on WWE, and I don't know what you've been discussing, but I will say I've been very intrigued by the whole Chris Jericho AJ Styles program. It seems like the hottest thing going for WWE, which they position it, of course, as a upper mid card going into WrestleMania, which I think speaks volumes as to what they've got on the docket for Texas Stadium coming up, or excuse me, not old Texas Stadium, at Jerry's World.
Yeah, Jerry World. You know, I've got to give all the credit in the world because I was highly skeptical about how they would put things together for AJ Styles. And, you know, being in a scenario where you've seen somebody who has been through the gauntlet and the ringer, especially in the final days of his TNA run, and with the length of time that he's been out, but by the same token, he'd also been working to pack out houses all across the United States, over in New Japan, in various ports around the world. And when the E finally called, it's like, okay, how are they going to handle this? I wasn't.
And, it was so needed at the time they called because with the decimation of injuries on the roster.
Yeah, considering the fact that they're technically a lot of their big four and then some still out with various injuries and various healing processes, whether it be John Cena, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton. I still don't know the extent of why Cesaro's been out for as long as he has.
I think a torn labrum in his shoulder. I'm still curious as to why Randy Orton's been out for such a duration of time.
And then you add to that the whole scenario where you've got so many different people who are, whether it be nagging injuries, little things, and I've got to give credit where credit is due. Whether it be the complete elevation of Dean Ambrose, they're continuing to try to work with Roman Reigns, and then you put the factor of Kevin Owens into play, and you've got people that have been pushed in the right direction. Now, some would say Reigns is still technically being over pushed, but by the, I don't know. I kind of look at it like this. It's like, give him the chance, but is it in our nature to sit back when we know technically that Reigns is going to be, the chosen one? No relation to Jeff Jarrett. Thank God. That we rebel against that concept.
Well, and I have one question as well. A guy asked me at work today, fresh this morning, 8 a.m. At Walmart.com. He asked me, it's a Shane. He said, I know you're a wrestling guy. I've been trying to watch Raw going into the WrestleMania season. He said, who is the main heel? Other than Triple H, who is not there full time. He said they tried it with Sheamus. They really haven't went all the way, and it hasn't worked. Who is the heel on the roster to play off of? And that made me think, who is the dominant heel right now in WWE?
Owens. Bray Wyatt. Because you've got Lesnar in a precarious circumstance where they're not booing him as he is facing. They boo him more against Ambrose than they do against Reigns. I mean, is it just a testament to the fact that Brock Lesnar is just so remarkably over that they can't flip him?
I was going to say there was never a moment where they actually did a babyface turn with Brock Lesnar. It's just the crowd started to realize and respect. They were cognizant of the fact of how he was being pushed as the conqueror, the beast incarnate, and that turned jeers into cheers. There was never that signature moment where you said, this is where Brock turned, but I agree with you. It's just people recognize and respect. So now, Kevin Owens, he captured the Intercontinental title last night on Monday Night Raw. I guess by default, he is the top heel. Bray Wyatt seemingly in the shadows, but Triple H is the guy with the belt, but he's not full-time.
Well, I do have one moment in mind when it comes to Lesnar, and that was during the match mid-part last year when it was he and Taker all over again, and Taker went for the low blow.
Yes.
And that was one of those deciding moments where they were trying to see if they could flip the script on Taker Lesnar to put Undertaker into the role of antagonist and slide Brock over to the role of protagonist. And to a degree, it worked, but to a degree, it really didn't. And I think because of the fact that it is who it is, and they are who they are, Taker's going to have fans who will just absolutely back him no matter what. And now you have a situation with Lesnar where people are genuinely getting behind him even more so now than ever before. And for as much as they couldn't stand Roman Reigns, if you're considering him still to be one of the top baby faces in the company, right alongside of Ambrose, once again, the crowd's not actually doing a negative response toward Lesnar unless it is against Ambrose. And and let's go one step further than that. We bring up Jericho Styles. And in this circumstance right now with Chris Jericho, people aren't booing him.
Right, and Jericho's that one guy. I know the challenge was laid out last night for Fastlane by AJ Styles with a response to be made Thursday on SmackDown by Jericho. The selfish part of me hopes that he says no to Fastlane, but makes the challenge for WrestleMania for the rubber match between the two.
I don't know if it'll last that long. I don't know if they can keep the heat on it that long. I know WWE their creative team has gotten better about a moderate to slow burn, depending on who is involved in it. I think right now, who was it made the challenge to who? Because I didn't catch the segment.
Styles made the challenge to Jericho for a rubber match at Fastlane, and Jericho said, "I will have an answer for you Thursday on SmackDown."
I wish it would have been the other way around. Because if Jericho had made the challenge and Styles would have said, "I'll get back to you," and Styles could have come back and said, "No, not right now," and then you could have had Jericho interfering in Styles' matches and jumping from behind to get his attention, and then Styles turn around and say, "You want me at Mania? You got me at Mania." But considering we've still got a month and a half, 7 weeks before Mania, that would be a very precarious burn. I think that they would have to do. They may have to go Broadway if they do it at Fastlane. They may have to go Broadway.
I agree, and I want to give a little shout out to our triple tag team partner, if that's a word, in the Freebirds Rules, Kaz. He and I have spoken about this with Jericho and Styles, and I was trying to think where I was going to go with this. I just lost my train of thought. Imagine that, Eddie. But if there's one person that could give AJ Styles his WrestleMania moment, it's Chris Jericho. And I think just knowing the importance of that situation, I think that's a way for people that have been, again, you and I and many listeners know AJ Styles and his history, but if you watch only WWE and WWE only, you may be curious as to say, what's all the fuss about? And I noticed they've been very careful in holding back on, he's not done Spiral Tap, he hasn't done the Calabra DDT. I think that would be a moment that Jericho would certainly break those moves out for that Mania moment, the wow factor.
And that's the fun part, because Jericho doesn't have to do anything extraordinarily new, exciting, innovative, and risky, because he's one of the personalities in this industry that people are primarily glad to see him back for as long as he's back.
I was going to say, the shout out to Costco, I was going to say, we both say we haven't watched SmackDown in ages. I found myself watching SmackDown the last couple of weeks, being moved to the USA Network. I don't know why, but that match with him and Styles this past Thursday was, I mean, not to say phenomenal with AJ, but it was so much better than the original match on Raw, which, a lot of people criticize as clunky, but man, that felt like a pay-per-view match on SmackDown.
It really did. And that one goes down as one of my top 3 matches of the week coming out of last week, because the way that you could tell they had a chemistry. And
yeah, you're right. It seems so much more cohesive this past Thursday.
Well, knowing the factor how a lot of guys do, hey, everybody in pro wrestling, listen closely. Knowing the fact that they still work out in the ring and train. if they were to work out together in a ring and work out some of those bugs, kinks, and chunks, well, guess what? You know the match is going to be 20 times better anyway. That's why it's always the rule. I don't care how good you are in this business. Drink. It doesn't hurt you to go train. It doesn't hurt you to go to a training session. It doesn't hurt you to go to an open workout with the rest of your company and the people at your home promotion. It only helps. True?
Absolutely. And I mean, I think back to that. Of course, it was 1 year to the date later, but I enjoyed the Shawn Michaels Undertaker Part 2 at WrestleMania more than I did the inaugural match.
Right. You know, you make a reference to Fastlane, and WWE has announced Big Show, Ryback, and Kane versus Braun Strowman, Eric Rowan, and Luke Harper for the WWE Fastlane event on the WWE Network. I'm not going to say pay-per-view because I don't know if it's available on traditional pay-per-view. I know it's not on DirecTV and Dish. Screw them.
Wouldn't want to upset JBL.
Nope. Michael, it's only $9.99. Why would you pay $54 for it? Because I can get it in 1080. There's some
Boom.
legit. I mean, let's be real about it. The network broadcast in 720. Traditional pay-per-view is 1080. Hello, little bit of a difference there. Especially if you have a Blu-ray burner in your computer. And
I was going to say, folks, it matters, that little difference in HD.
Oh, God, yes, it does. And by the way, on a totally cheesy and side note, I want to say thank you to Tanya and all the folks over at Best Buy in Alabaster for all of their help this past weekend. Had a very pleasurable buying experience. I'll leave it at that. Yeah. And look forward to seeing everybody from Best Buy who's promised to drop by and say hi this Friday at B-Dubs. Looking forward to that, too. Shifting gears for a hot second, we're going to go a little bit more in depth on the match that I just talked about, but I want to go and ask, how'd everything go at Trivia tonight?
Wonderful. Actually, a good crowd out on the patio this evening. Rain was in the forecast on my way down, and then the skies cleared once I got here. Had 9 teams total in attendance. It was a good night.
What was the bonus question?
You always ask for that final question.
Yup.
Eddie, I could give you an easier portion of the game, but you go right for the question of great significance.
Of course, if you're going to miss a question, make it the good one.
Sure. This is a same name question. Which band that has sold over 150 million albums since forming in 1967 takes its name from a synonym for inception or emergence?
Genesis.
Correct. Nailed it.
You know what's funny? The first thing popped in my head was the Babies.
As long as it wasn't the Dead Kennedy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's a couple of years off. But, no, I mean, it's like, and what's funny is a friend of mine and I, that I work with at my day job, we were having a conversation and we built our top 25 acts. Because I did not watch the Grammys. I had no desire to watch the Grammys, just like I had noted. I mean, it's like I made the comment very clear. And I've taken my heat on social media and text messaging and phone calls and face-to-face conversations. When your initial promo for the event, the Super Bowl commercial, the first one I saw for the Grammys, led off with Swiftler and Blahana. No, I have the only thing that they could have done was go ahead and just make it worse and say Skankonse.
I watched the Grammys in segments for 2 reasons. One, the Lady Gaga tribute to the late David Bowie.
Okay.
Which I thought was well done. It was bizarre. It was eccentric, and some people were criticizing that. I'm like, guys, that's what David Bowie was. Could you think of one modern artist that could pull off a tribute to David Bowie besides Lady Gaga?
Oh, God. No.
And the other portion I enjoyed was Jackson Browne sitting in with the remaining members of the Eagles as a tribute to Glenn Frey. And some may not know this, Jackson Browne actually had started writing the song Take It Easy, which wound up being the Eagles' first signature hit in 1972. He, Glenn Frey, and Don Henley were all living in the same apartment complex. And Glenn actually finished the song once it started off with, There's a Girl, My Lord in a Flatbed Ford slowing down to take a look at me. He took over songwriting credits for the song. So thinking of his voice, of course, no one could do Glenn Frey, but it was really cool. They did take it easy with Jackson Browne filling in for Glenn last night. Now, those were the only two segments I cared a damn about.
Yeah. Yeah, because the Grammys are so far out of touch, it's not even funny on certain categories. It's kind of like,
well,
go ahead.
I brought this up before on the Saturday Showcase, I think. What is the difference between Record of the Year and Single of the Year? But Meghan Trainor last year won a Grammy for All About That Bass. This year, she is nominated for Best New Artist.
Yeah, I know.
And I have a huge problem with that. How are you still eligible when you won a Grammy last year?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, okay, now look, let's take this to the realm of pro wrestling, because I know that Chikara and their Young Lions Cup, if you have 3 years or less in the industry, you are classified under you are eligible to compete in Young Lions Cup. But I have to ask the question, normally for the Grammys and the American Music Awards and the ACMs and all of the above, the award shows that almost matter, keyword almost, they normally make it their first year. But lo and behold, if you're going to expand that to make it their first 2 years, let's just go ahead and move the Young Lions Cup down to the Grammys.
I agree.
And I don't know. It's just, wow. Yeah, I saw that on one of the clips. I mean, I have not, like I said, I did not watch one single second of it. Had no desire to. I mean, look, yes, I'm a DJ. I have been for a number of years, but I'm sorry the Grammys can't show me anything interesting other than a couple of performances, and I normally see those on the American Music Awards.
Well, I was going to say, someone broke it down on Rolling Stone this morning, I was reading. The Grammys have become nothing but a concert show with a Grammy Award awarded once every 26 minutes. There are 85 categories in the Grammy Awards. Only 16 are given away in that 3.5-hour telecast.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I legitimately think that the Slammies give away more than the Grammys do.
This is true. There's not as many performances here in the Slammies.
Well, there are matches.
You're actually winning awards for your performance throughout the duration of the year.
But they actually do show matches during the Slammy Awards.
True.
And sometimes it's with the people who are nominated. And sometimes the ones that win. I mean, I appreciate the award shows where, okay, we're going to come back from commercial and let's go straight over to the stage and introduce blank. And then turn around and, ladies and gentlemen, the nominees for this award are fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, fill in the blank, and the person who just performed. And the winner is the person who just performed. I mean,
I think you're seeing a big disconnect, too, with what the majority of American listeners listen to, what's available on Top 40 radio, and then what gets nominated. There's a huge disconnect between those three.
Well, remember, and I have to throw this one out there because as it pertains to Top 40/CHR, Contemporary Hits Radio, that has now been fragmented into 3 runs. 1, CHR Rhythmic, CHR Mainstream, and CHR Active Rock, or CHR Rock.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rhythmic stations are going to be the ones that also will maybe play a song by Drake or play a song, that leans off more into the real hip-hop vein. Your CHR Mainstream won't touch the hip-hop and rap for the most part, but they'll stay with R&B, as well as your bubblegum rock, as well as occasionally a remixed country song. And then you go see a Contemporary Hits Rock, which is different from Active Rock, because you're also going to have groups like Fall Out Boy, Good Charlotte, Breaking Benjamin. Then you'll also have Adele and Ellie Goulding, artists of that ilk in both CHRM and CHR Rock. So where Adele comes into the rock side of life, I have no idea. But, and more power to her. I hate the fact that I did hear the fact that her performance was sabotaged last night because the microphone inside the piano messed up or something.
Oh, yes. I saw where she tweeted something fell on the piano keys, and she said, for those criticizing, and I quote, sometimes shit happens.
Pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. And Now, I'm going to ask the question. Now, completely away from giving the awards, I noticed the fact that there are certain people who do not attend the Grammys because they feel that it is too politicized. And not necessarily in the left, right, Republican, Democrat sense, but the Grammys have become way political. And I am one of those that believes in that. If you book an award show right now, what is one act that you feel should be there? Any timeline still alive?
Paul McCartney.
Okay.
I mean, for me, that just comes to mind easily. Paul is one of two Beatles still remaining, the most influential group of the British invasion. And I think Paul has collaborated with so many people over the years that, I mean, if he is going to perform the Grammys, it's still a big deal, even at his advanced age.
One of the first groups that immediately popped in my head, other than U2, who have 22 Grammys to their credit, I do believe, Sting.
Yes.
I think that he would be definitely a mainstay. Of course, I noticed that Mr. Sumner has not been there for quite a while either. There are different performers that just absolutely should be encompassed in that. And I'm going to throw a curveball at you, kids. I recently managed to finally catch the 50th anniversary show for the Beach Boys.
Mm.
Yes. Legendary group that defined an era.
I was going to say they've sold more records than any American group ever.
Yeah. Very true. And with their 50th anniversary concert, it was actually both factions back together, the Mike Love and the Brian Wilson factions. So you had everybody from Mike Love to Al Jardine. Brian Wilson was still on stage, of course, the surviving Wilson brother, as well as two other members of the original group. And to see them all back together one more time, even if it was just one more time, because I know that Wilson and Jardine actually tour, and then Mike Love and the other part of the contingent tour separately. They're actually Beach Boys and Beach Boys bands. And speaking of going back on tour, I'm telling my age on this one, kids. Unfortunately, I don't have a confirmation on Mike Nesmith, but Mickey Dolenz and Peter Tork have agreed to go back out on tour.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yes.
you sort of go back in time. My Facebook feed showed up today, February the 16th, 2013. 3 years ago, I had the opportunity to go to the Yum Yum Center, the KFC Yum Center, in Louisville, Kentucky, to see The Who, and got an opportunity to get my concert ticket signed by Roger Daltrey, which was a true mark-out moment for me.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people take a criticism on The Who, how much more money can Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey squeeze out of The Who, but they were phenomenal that night. I mean, they performed the entire album Quadrophenia in its entirety and didn't miss a beat at all. And I was like, wow, that's already been 3 years.
And if you ask the question about The Who, then you have to ask it about the Stones.
That's right.
I mean, go ahead.
I want to bring this up, too. There was an article on Rolling Stone magazine last week talking about all the tragic deaths that have taken place. Of course, Natalie Cole, lead singer of the Earth, Wind and Fire, Lemmy from Motorhead, but specifically talking about Gordon Fry and David Bowie. It's like, we're used to seeing classic rock icons being destroyed by drugs, drinking, etc. Now we're just starting to lose them to old age and natural causes, and that's a staple of a genre of music that's just slowly going away.
Yeah, unfortunately true. But there is a good side of life when you do have a certain number of bands that dedicate themselves to being tribute artists. That is why Elvis will never really die. Michael will never really die. Unfortunately, I don't see that many Sinatra or Dean Martin or Rat Pack tribute acts. Of course, that's a very touchy subject. Get Cosper on that one, too.
I was going to say Michael Bublé is the only name that comes to mind.
When it comes to Sinatra, yeah, I'll agree with that. But you also have bands that dedicate themselves to being tribute artist bands for the Rolling Stones. I've seen a GNR, I've seen a Poison. I've actually seen a Prince tribute band, a longtime friend of mine, AJ Vallejo, spears that one up. Also have seen a number of Kiss tribute bands, including recently here in Pelham, Alabama, at the Oak Mountain Amphitheater during a Rewind Fest. You had a band called Almost Kiss. Yeah.
Well, you brought up GNR, and I was thinking back to the Grammys with them going on tour this summer, starting in Las Vegas. What better way to launch that thing than with Axl and Slash, Duff McKagan, and all the guys right there at the Grammys? That would have been a cool moment, because one of my favorite Grammy moments was November Rain, GNR with Elton John on piano. That forever sticks in my mind.
You know, ooh, wow. Just saw something pass across the news feed, and it's a little bit, it's about an hour and a half old. Mark Middleton over at Lords of Pain, hard segue here. Note was made from last week that WWE Hall of Famer endorsed Donald Trump for president via Twitter. Lawler told WMC Action News in Memphis that he has received death threats for the tweet. Lawler said sending the tweet was not a good idea, and he's staying out of politics from now on. Then he let's see, he's got a number of different, or a couple of different ones that have been posted on Lords of Pain, but I'm going to sit back and say this. For everybody, now I don't get political on this show. I will get political, but I don't endorse. And I will take things one step at a time, and I will always preface with, these are my opinions, not anybody else on the network. And I will just sit back and say this. For anybody who wants to make death threats to someone because they personally believe in someone and are willing to back them publicly, that is their choice. And at note, for keyboard warriors especially, now it's for keyboard warriors who want to make threats via social media, you got no balls or ovaries, whatever the case may be, or in Caitlyn Jenner's case, you don't have anything. Except fake boobs.
I was going to say I saw a great meme, V&D Day, Valentine's A, for those that will not be receiving the B or the D this past Valentine's Day weekend. But I digress.
I like that one. Thank you. So for whoever the dweebs were who actually issued threats to Jerry Lawler, you got no class. Plain and simple. The man has the right to endorse whoever he wants to endorse, and if you don't like it, that's your problem. You endorse who you want to endorse. Let everybody else endorse who they want to endorse. You got people who like Bernie. You've got people who like Hillary. You got people who like Trump, Cruz, Rubio. I liked Chris Christie while he was still in the race. I feel bad that he dropped out. I like John Kasich. There's a number of people who are on. I mean, I'm undeclared.
I was going to say, I really enjoyed Chris Christie. I hate to see that after finishing sixth in Iowa, he dropped out. And as far as Donald Trump, he is a very divisive candidate. I can't think of anybody in my lifetime that's been more divisive. But you know what? I mean, is some of his outlines extreme? Sure, depending on your way of thought. But maybe it's the divisiveness the United States needs, if that sounds correct.
It
quoting
does.
The wicked nemesis, a necessary evil, so to speak.
Nice. I look at it like this. I mean, I'm not. My mind is not made up because I haven't heard enough about the issues from anybody yet. So, like I said, I am your swing voter, kids. I am the one who's undeclared. But I will sit back and say this. And no, this is not an endorsement, and this is not who I'm voting for. I think at least I don't know yet. I have not made up my mind. I think it would be funny as hell to see if Donald Trump actually wins, to see if Joy Behar will actually move out of the United States.
Well, I was going to say, but the first time we had a WWE Hall of Famer as president of the free world, commander-in-chief. Of course, that didn't happen for Jesse Ventura. He did not run. But can you imagine, yes, if Donald Trump, it's announced, is what would that be, the 46th president or 47th of the United States?
Let's see, Bush 43, Obama 44, so he'd be 45.
45. If Donald Trump were announced the 45th president of the United States, I mean, literally, what would happen? And I know in some people's minds it would be like, well, it couldn't be any worse than what we got now. Could it? It remains to be seen.
I'd like to see the pyro during the inauguration ceremony because Vince would have something to do with it.
Donald has been using songs from musicals, from The Phantom of the Opera and Cat, as his intro and outro music for all these rallies. So, kind of curious to see where that would go. But, here's the thing, and not to get political with you, but I will say my personal feelings on Donald Trump. When this began, like in, say, July and August, I felt like he was saying things that you and I say on a podcast. I felt like he was saying things that you might talk about at the water cooler or at the bar over a good six-pack of beer or in your backyard grilling. Then it started to get into really severe, hardcore, really offending people. And it's like, okay, you kind of overstepped the line, but it's like, he's not a normal politician. I mean, if he loses this race, he doesn't have to go back and be a senator or a governor of a state. There's not that pressure on him. He can go back to building condos and hotels as he pleases. So, I mean, it's all for broke for one Donald Trump.
And I think the bigger part of the comedy aspect of it, if Trump wins, instead of a Supreme Court justice, would he be sworn in by Brother Love?
And actually does.
Say what? I'll take that one step further. After he does "So Help Me God," and whoever it is says, "Congratulations, Mr. President," would it make any sense whatsoever if Michael Buffer were to step up to the microphone and go, "Let's get ready up"?
Well, and I'll take it one step further. What you spoke of, with it being a WWE Hall of Famer, and I know that Vince McMahon would advertise this 2 weeks in advance, I would think, that the first sitting president ever would appear on WWE Raw. Of course, he'd probably save it for a pay-per-view / network event special, but for wrestling fans, that would be a pretty cool deal.
Oh, that'd be uber cool. That would. But see, the thing about it is, and here's the funny part about it, the whole scenario is polarizing in so many different directions, but the part that I want everybody to understand is, and like I said, I'm not endorsing anybody at this point because not everybody's spoken enough about real issues. I respect and appreciate the fact that Donald Trump will stand there and shoot from the hip and be politically incorrect.
It's fresh.
I mean, look, I respected Reagan. I respected Clinton. So I have a favorite president from both sides of the aisle. I respected Kennedy. So I don't do party crap. I do issues. I don't do labels. I do reality.
I'm right there with you. I do not get into Democrat or Republican. Are you a Republican voter or are you a Democratic voter? I'm an issues voter. I'm right there with you.
I'm an American voter. Plain and simple. I'm an American voter. I want to put I want to cast my vote and exercise my right and my privilege to vote for the person who I feel best suits my ideals or reasonable facsimile thereof. It's that simple. That's why I tell everybody, don't just jump on a bandwagon. Research. Do your homework and show your work. Then make the intelligent choice for what best suits you. That's all I'm going to say. It's kind of like you're not going to go into JCPenney or Belk or Macy's and you wear a size 36. You're not intentionally going to buy a 32 and try to wear them.
Well, here's one point I want to bring up there, and this was a trivia question I did just merely a few weeks ago. There's been, I believe, 4 times in history where a candidate won the popular vote but lost the Electoral College vote for president. Couldn't you see something like that happening with Donald Trump?
Oh, yeah. Well, and there's a whole bunch of things I could really go into because of all the homework I've done in the last couple of weeks, but I'm not going to do that. Tell you what, do me a favor. Can you hang one more quick one?
Sure, no problem.
Okay. Folks, tell you what, we're going to take a brief one, and Shane and I will be right back on Back to Basics right after this.
This is Dale the Demon Torborg, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside. When planning your next party or special event, insist on the best. Full Range Entertainment is a professional entertainment company providing a full range of services. From professional disc jockeys and MCs to catering and photography, when the details of your special day must be perfect, call us first. Wedding receptions, corporate parties, school functions, birthday celebrations, and more. We also have Birmingham's largest selection of karaoke tracks available. With over 40 years combined experience, Full Range Entertainment can provide you with the talent and professionalism you need and deserve to make your next event one you'll never forget. For more information on the full range of services we offer, call 533-HITS. That's 533-HITS. Or check us out on our website at fullrangeentertainment.com.
This is Merciless Ray Mercer, Olympic gold medalist and board member of Find the Dream, and you're locked into Beyond Ringside.
The To Be Determined show live Wednesday nights, 9 Central Standard Time. Join myself, the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, the Grand Design, Clyde Braddock, and the Magic City Monroe, Fast Eddie Lane, as we take you to the edge of uncensored. Yes, we go uncensored, so make sure you have your earmuffs. Ask your parents, for those of you that are a little young, maybe under 18, but make sure if you have any heart conditions or any mental defects, please listen, because they may take effect right here live every Wednesday night, 9 Central Standard Time. Beyond Ringside Radio Network, beyondringside.com.
Sunday nights at 11 p.m. Eastern here on beyondringside.com. Join us for the Midnight Black Mass. Myself, the Reverend Dan Wilson, brings you the dark gospel of professional wrestling, uncensored, unedited, uncut, and not for the faint of heart. You can find out more about us at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe at Potty Humor on iTunes and Stitcher today.
This is Danny Cage from the world famous Monster Factory, and you're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Howdy, friends. This is the Magic City Motor Mouth, Fast Eddie Lane, with your invitation to join yours truly, along with Mark Mabo Bowman and the Oracle of Ominous, the Wicked Nemesis, every Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific, for Beyond Ringside Live. Wrestling, mixed martial arts, sports talk, and a whole lot more. Keep your eyes open on beyondringside.com for all of upcoming show information, and of course, catch us on social media as well. Until then, we'll see you this Sunday, 6:30 Eastern, for Beyond Ringside Live on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network.
This is the seven-figure deal Ace Rockwell, and as long as Wicked Nemesis isn't on the show, please listen. You're locked in to Beyond Ringside.
Hey, half-heads, it's a 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Scrapline Adam Pearce, and just like me, you are locked in Beyond Ringside.
Set and ready to run for the home run round, so to speak. Welcome back into Back to Basics. Fast Eddie Lane in Studio 1 behind the announcer's desk. Yeah, I know I'm normally doing this for the Saturday thing, but I'm going to go in and do it anyway. And from the promoter's office, is that the way I normally say it?
Everything is everything, Eddie.
There you go.
Home run round. There'll be 3 else to go.
There you go. Welcome back, Shane Knowles. How's it going, brother?
Good. How about yourself?
Doing good. Just stumbled across this article a little while ago on the news feed. And this is, let me see, I'm reading it from channelguidemag.com, but it's been posted all over the place. And I'm hoping this is real, because I have not seen anything about it on their .com yet. And apparently, if this is real, once again, case point scenario, if this is real, it was posted on today at 2:33 p.m. Apparently, WWE is looking to premiere a global cruiserweight series. Now, once again, I don't know how real this is. I have not looked on WWE.com yet to see if this is actually legitimate. But I'm going to sit back and say, if this is legit, if this is real, and NXT is going to be the host of it, or even WWE, I think that would be a beautiful concept. What are your thoughts?
I was going to say, as do I. I think you see a lot of, you spoke of NXT, I see a lot of talent in that NXT division. I guess we can call it that. That's what it is, the NXT brand, that would do well in a global cruiserweight division.
Now, also, like I said, I'm reading off of an article that, like I said, I don't know if this is legitimate or not. because there are no links back to the story on WWE.com, which would normally accompany something of this ilk. And it says, look, okay. So I don't know I don't know how straight up this is, but by the same token, I'll sit back out and I would love to see something like that, because there are, and this is something that I really wish more promotions would actually do. But you've got companies like yours that has the No Limits title and currently held by Kevin Blue, which, even though theoretically there are no weight limits involved in it, you do have an abundance of cruiserweights that actually compete in that division, right?
Correct. Yeah, that No Limits division is, they will not, what's the word I'm looking for? They will not discriminate based on height, weight, anything else. Basically, it's a No Limits division open for everyone. Equal opportunity employer.
And you've got a lot of companies that actually do have cruiserweight championships, light heavyweight titles. I know currently in Global Championship Wrestling, we have a middleweight championship that is currently held by Josh O'Hagan, a member of the Brotherhood. Now, I will sit back and say this. I am looking at WWE.com, and I'm typing the keyword cruiserweight in, and unfortunately, I don't see anything about it, so I'm going to question the legitimacy of this article. So I'm going to do some more research, but like I said, it just caught me that, I'm going to do some more research and find out how legitimate it is and see if it was something that was actually posted and something real from WWE, because normally they would have that in their news section, and I did not see it there. So, and like I said, I did a search on WWE.com, and I didn't see anything on that. So I'm going to sit back and say I'll hold that in the realm of trepidation at this point.
We can hope with bated breath and fingers crossed.
Yeah, and speaking of the No Limits title from Peach State Wrestling Alliance, this coming Saturday, February the 20th, Carrollton, Georgia, at the VFW Fairgrounds inside the complex, the No Limits Championship will be on the line, right?
That is correct. Kevin Blue, who captured the title from P-Dog Mike Posey November 7th, took a few months off, requested, and received, asking you shall receive, received a couple of months off as he and his wife Laura welcomed in a new addition to the family, a young baby boy, and now Kevin Blue has had that time to spend with family. He's back to defending the No Limits title against one Drew Adler, which I can say, I think those are two of the tallest and, shall I say, lengthiest members of the No Limits division. That's actually the match that, if I were a fan, this is crazy, if I were a fan and I'm coming Saturday to Carrollton, Georgia for Peach State, that's the match I'm most curious to see.
Correction, I do have a confirmation. WWE.com, WWE Network adds Global Cruiserweight Series to a robust 2016 programming slate. Here's part of the article. Let me go and quote this. We're going to come back to the show in just a minute. Out of Stamford, Connecticut, WWE Network, and this is on WWE.com. WWE Network continues to add to its already robust slate of original programming in 2016 with the newly greenlit show Global Cruiserweight Series. This tournament brings together more than 30 of the greatest in-ring competitors at Full Sail University, Orlando, Florida, to vie for the right to call themselves the best cruiserweight in the world. The Global Cruiserweight Series is set to premiere Wednesday, July 13th at 9 p.m. on the award-winning WWE Network. So this is real.
Imagine that.
This is real.
4 or 5 months in advance.
This is real, so okay, I'm good with this. I'm going to be quite curious to see exactly who does make the cut on this, because they're going to have a lot of in-house talent on this show. But when you also add to the fact of some of the great cruiserweights that run around the southeastern United States, as well, we've got, whether it be in Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida, Louisiana, it doesn't matter. Then you go ahead and add some of the stars from Combat Zone Wrestling, Chikara Pro Wrestling. Go ahead and look at Lucha Underground. And if they are genuinely going to open the doors on this series to outside talent, which of course they have been, because remember, two people we know very well, Corey Hollis and John Schuyler have been working down at NXT for a while, and they themselves are two great cruiserweights.
Those are two names that came to mind if they would be a part of this tournament. It's not just one shot, but multiple shots with NXT over the last few months.
So I'm going to put out an open call, and I'm going to call out our friends in Stamford who actually do listen. You have an open door, period. You have an open door to come on any of the Beyond Ringside branded products, Back to Basics, Shooters Gallery, or BR Live, and we would love to help you put the word out about this because, look, I know we already busted y'all how many times for taking ideas from us, so hey, what the hell? And you have your own little series called Beyond the Ring. Oh, gee, where'd y'all get that concept from? Hi there, how you doing? My name's Eddie Lane. And right now, Hunter's sitting up, listening, looking at his speakers, going, "Shut up!"
Did someone not get what they wanted?
I know you got that sound clip ready.
Actually, I don't, believe it or not. I have changed computers that I've been using for the Skype system, and unfortunately, I have not moved all of the sound bites over yet. So I'm going to be.
My apologies.
Oh no, it's fine. It's fine. I've been in the middle of a remod here at Studio One, and I have changed.
It'll change your life.
Oh, dirty pool.
We're leading in the polls. You're running for president?
Life-changing?
Hang on a second. Oh, okay. Wrong buttons was up. Buttons was up. I thought you were doing sound bites. I thought you had some loaded on your phone. Little did I realize I actually screwed up and left a channel open on one of my computers. I'll just let that run. Nobody knows what commercial that was. But coming back over, like I said, I'm going to get in touch with the folks up in Stamford and give them that open invitation to come join us here on Beyond Ringside family of shows, because I would love to see, first off, if they will take us up on the invitation. Second off, I'd love to see, give them that opportunity in this forum for a great audience that listens live and on replay. So we'll put that in play. I'll get that ball rolling. But let's go ahead and turn the attention back. And we've actually got two great shows coming up on 2 days, and that is this weekend. We started making a reference to it Saturday, February the 20th at the historic VFW Fairgrounds. You just heard about the No Limits title match. And tell you what, let's take a quick look at some of the matches that are at the rundown. I know we're going to talk a little bit more about it this coming Saturday on the Shooters Gallery, but I do want to bring up one match in particular, and that is going to be the mixed tag match. AJ Steele and Pandora taking on Tommy Too Much and America Strong. If this doesn't turn out to be an all-out explosion, I don't know what the hell will.
Lots of combustible elements at play for this mixed tag. America Strong has been a ringside enforcer. I dare not use the word manager or valet. I say enforcer. Over the course of the last 5 months, she will be making her PWA in-ring debut in this mixed tag match, which I will remind people again, mixed tag as such, if it's a male and a female, it's okay. There does not have to be male on male, female on female violence, if that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense. And I mean, look, I know, and this is where you and I agree on the term for America Strong, mercenary. I have referred to her as a mercenary. I've referred to her as the hit for hire, even though somebody else uses that official nickname. And this is a person who could probably military press me without even blinking. Of course, I'd pay her $5 to do it anyway.
Just $5?
Hey, this is me you're talking to. I don't make that much money, okay? Okay, fine. I'll bump it up to dinner at Applebee's or something like that. She can have what she wants. I'll order off the app menu after 9 p.m.
Or B-dubs like your tag team partner owes you from a stupidly wagered NFL bet back in the month of November.
And speaking of football, I just got to sit back and say, can Cam Newton catch a break?
Whew. Jeez. I mean, can the draft get here soon enough?
I mean, that's just the damnedest thing. And speaking of the draft, WWE, go ahead and split the brands back up and reinstitute the WWE draft. It was always entertaining.
It was fun to see who would switch. Yeah, I agree.
And now that you got NXT in the mix, you could actually go ahead and say, okay, fine, coming up from NXT will be blank. Ooh, nice choice. But now, you confided to me off air about situations which were resulting from the weekend that you actually were able to get some repair work done yesterday. I've got to ask the question now. Give me the rundown again of what all you had done yesterday for oral surgery.
Oh, yeah. I'm just letting everybody what's going on. Friday evening when I got off work, I had a little twang in my tooth, which was the upper right portion of my teeth. The final tooth, I'd say, in the upper right portion started tinging. I said, okay, let's take a little Advil here. It didn't work. Let's go to the store, buy some Orajel. It didn't work. Finally, we make a visit to the ER at around 4:15 local time, which finally got some painkillers that are not available throughout your Dollar General or Walmart or Walgreens, which put me to sleep, which I knew oral surgery would have to be done. Finally, Monday at around 3:30 Eastern time, I had a root canal, which is the third one in my life, with a crown to follow within the next 2 weeks. And I will say this, that's the first time I've had a root canal in 12 years, and my thank you, fingers crossed for the advancement in modern medicine, because they have come leaps and bounds. And I will say numbing the pain from what it used to be, from what my old brain remembers a root canal used to be.
Now, are you going to be anywhere close to 100% for this Saturday in your tag team match with your partner, Nigel Sherrod?
Yes, I am on painkillers through Thursday evening. Should be good. I feel the rest of yesterday was quite a hassle. Today felt pretty good. I probably seem a little bit more hyper tonight than normal, and that may be due to the medication, but should be all good to go. I will say this. I mean, as bad as a body slam hurts, a suplex, a backbreaker, there's two things. You give me pain in my ears, you give me pain in my teeth, and I scream like a little 6-year-old with a skint knee.
Well, more than anything else, I hope everything heals up and everything falls into place, so to speak, before this Saturday, because I know it's going to be a big match. And
falls into place. I enjoyed that.
No problem. Every once in a while, even my screw-ups can be a little bit humorous. Now, I've got to ask this one before, and folks, by the way, before we go any further, let's go ahead and lay this one out for those who don't know. Doors open at
7 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 o'clock Central, bell time, 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 Central. And yes, we covered Kevin Blue and Drew Adler for the No Limits Championship. Also this Saturday, Nigel Sherrod and myself will be taking on the brand new PWA Tag Team Champions, the Beautiful Ball Besties, in the form of Michael Stevens and Zach Edwards. This is a non-title match, and the Necessary Evil, the Wicked Nemesis, will be in our corner.
Now, I've got to go ahead and do this. I really wish I could be there this weekend, because with everything coming together, there are so many things that I really want to be able to see. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there, but I'm definitely looking forward to being back with the team this in the month of March, because I know that heading into the springtime, it gets even crazier at Peach State, right?
It does, yeah, with Bill Behrens speaking on behalf of the Georgia Athletic Commission, the Advisory Council. He will be announcing several of the names. This Saturday, February 20th, it will be competing in the PWA Heritage Title Tournament, the first Heritage Title Tournament in over 7.5 years for Peach State Wrestling Alliance, and Bill will be dropping some of those names, and the rest that I will be giving to you hopefully this weekend. We had spoken of setting that up for Sunday on Beyond Ringside. I'd be glad to come along and give you the full field.
I'm looking forward to it. My brain is in 9 different directions, because I also want to make reference to, I said 2 great shows in 2 days. Sunday, February the 21st in Atlanta, Georgia, at the Enclave, 708 Spring Street in Atlanta. Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment returns. I am waiting. These are some AR Fox taking on Jimmy Ray for the Georgia Wrestling Crown For those who have not had a chance to see AR Fox in action, he can absolutely light it up. Leo Rush was originally slated to be on the show this coming Sunday, but unfortunately, due to contractual commitments, he is not going to be able to make it. But I will say, from what I've understood, they are putting things together to where it is going to be one hell of a night of professional wrestling action this coming Sunday at the Enclave on Spring Street. Kimber Lee, the Chikara Grand Champion, will be there in the Roar division taking on Ashton Starr. I will tell you this, that will be a don't blink match. You have a three-way dance in the tag team division. Team IOU, Nick Iggy and Kerry Awful, taking on the Sound of the Fury, Black and Huckabee, and taking on from the Hierarchy, the Kraken, Chip Day, and Murder One. There is a lot more on this show than I'm mentioning right now, because there is also going to be there are going to be two individuals in the Roar division making their debut this coming Sunday, February 21st, in the Roar division as Brittany Blake. A lot of you in the northeastern U.S. will recognize that name. And Penelope Ford from WSU. They will be making their debuts this coming Sunday at Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment. I've watched Brittany Blake and I've watched Penelope Ford. This will be a very solid women's match. And I've got to say, this weekend is going to be a great weekend to be in the Peach State of Georgia. Saturday the 20th in Carrollton, Sunday the 21st in Atlanta. Believe it, it's going to be a great time. 2 great shows and 2 great days for our friends around the southeastern U.S. Definitely check them out. Don't miss a minute of it. I wanted to throw this one out at you. Hard segue. Does it surprise you that Villanova stayed at number 1 2 weeks in a row?
Oh, we spoke of college basketball the last time we spoke. I had a great stat here to drop on you, Eddie. Top 5 teams in men's college basketball this season, counting this weekend. Top 5 ranked college teams in men's college basketball have dropped 18 games to non-ranked opponents. That is astounding.
Yeah.
When you think about it. I mean, a top 5 ranked school has lost to an unranked school 18 times this season, and we're still in the final month before we get into conference play.
Correct.
Going into that, Villanova still number 1. I mean, it seemingly has been a revolving door of number 1 teams in men's college basketball. So kudos to Jay Wright, Coach Jay Wright and his squad of the Wildcats. I mean, Villanova these last couple of years, they've been a 2 seed, they've been a 3 seed, they've been a 4 seed. Sometimes they've been knocked out early. What if they were the number 1 overall seed in the tournament? How far would people actually believe in their convictions that they could go?
True. And amazingly enough, the top 8 teams, if my notes are correct, and what I'm reading is accurate, the top 8 teams stayed the top 8 this week. Villanova, Kansas, Oklahoma, Iowa, North Carolina, Maryland, Virginia, and Michigan State, all in the top 8. West Virginia. I'm beginning to question this chart, too.
But I was going to say, I think West Virginia just got knocked off this evening by Shaka Smart-led Texas Longhorns.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the 85 to 78 was the final score. So I think there's going to be a binge point on this also, because Villanova just beat St. John's back on the 13th. That was their last game. Oklahoma State fell to Kansas yesterday. Number 2 ranked Kansas. Number 3 Oklahoma lost to Kansas back on the 13th. So I'm taking this one directly off of Yahoo Sports, which normally is pretty darn good about getting stuff put together. But by the same token, it's getting really interesting. This is the time. Normally about 3 weeks ago is when I start paying a lot more attention. God knows I'd have rather watched it than Super Bowl. And no, I'm not a Panthers fan. I didn't have a dog in the fight. I really didn't. I wanted a good game. Go ahead.
I was going to say men's college basketball has become, sadly, I mean, that's just the realization of what it is. It's become a 2-month sport. From mid-January on, you start seeing conference play, and the cream rises to the top, and then conference championship tournaments, and then the actual March Madness, the big dance. No one really pays attention in November, December.
Okay, I have a different as per week. Top 5 for this week: Villanova, Kansas, Oklahoma, Iowa, and North Carolina. Villanova is number 1 2 weeks in a row. Kansas came up from number 6. Oklahoma stayed where they are. Iowa stayed where they are. North Carolina up from 9 to number 5. Maryland fell from number 2 to number 6. Virginia stayed where they are at 7. Michigan State stayed where they are at 8. Xavier down from 5 to number 8. West Virginia stayed or tie for number 8, and West Virginia stayed where they are at number 10. So there. Thank you, ESPN, for getting something right. Which, of course, normally the main thing that ESPN gets right would be the bodies issue, but still, that's an entirely different animal.
Oh, I was going to say, I can go off ad nauseum over the fact that everyone is talking about Sports Illustrated putting a plus-sized model on the cover of the swimsuit issue. And I'm like,
cute.
why can't she just be a model? Because to me, that is not plus-sized.
She's
as
cute.
As far as how my eyes work.
I like curves.
I don't like coat racks. I'm right there with you.
I mean, I like curves. I don't have a problem.
Speak for Fast City Lane.
There you go. You got one. You got that one in. I think Ashley Graham is an attractive young lady. I don't see a problem with her being on the cover at all. I was really kind of shocked at some of the things that I'd heard earlier today during that have been reported during SportsCenter, especially comments that had been made recently by Ronda Rousey. And I will sit back and say this, and I'm just going to go. This is from the heart. I've been a fan of Ronda Rousey since before UFC. I rode that train when she hit Strikeforce and before. And I think Rousey always has been and is an exceptionally gifted young lady and a great fighter, in that order. I put her as a person before I put her as a fighter. I think that she's had too much on her. I think that she had a lot of pressure from the front office of UFC. Hey, you only fought 14 seconds. Come back in 2 months. Come back in 3 months. It's like, that's not fair. I mean, I appreciate the idea that they know where their bread's buttered, and Ronda Rousey has been one of their biggest box office attractions. And now I hope they actually treat Conor McGregor more fairly than they did Rousey. But see, Conor McGregor's riding his own ticket, where I don't think Rousey thought she had the ability to do that. I felt that Ronda Rousey had the ability to write her own checks and write her own schedule. I know that people always worry, and here comes that word. People always worry about their legacies and what people or how people will remember them in any given circumstance. And 9 times out of 10, the last thing you see is the first thing you remember. I mean, nobody remembers every fight that Mike Tyson ended with a KO. They remember Buster Douglas, which is sad because Tyson was a warrior. And in my book, Ronda Rousey was and still is a warrior. And I know that I'm going to get misinterpreted on this one, but I will sit back and say this, and I would have said the same thing to Robin Williams as if I was even remotely close to his inner circle or circle of friends. Look, I know what depression's like. It's a bitch. It's a pain in the ass, and it's hard as hell to live through sometimes. I know, I do every day. I don't take medicine. Yeah, if I can find it, I'll smoke weed. It helps. Trust me on that one. I don't advocate it for everybody. Spoiler, yeah, really. I don't advocate it for everybody because it has different effects on different people. For me personally, it helps me to relax, unwind, open my mind, and get things back in perspective. Better than a bottle of Jack Daniels or anything else I could probably get my hands on. And trust me, I've got some good friends in low places. Thank you, Garth Brooks.
Well, I was going to say, just saying, I'm going to put it like you said, it smoke weed. That's not going to hinder your ability to drive behind the wheel as opposed to alcohol.
Yeah, I still don't drive, though. I will do it in a stationary location because I don't want to. I mean, it's like, look, I'm one of those that I'm a very, very conscientious individual when it comes to precarious circumstances of that ilk. If I know that I'm going to be in a location where I'm going to be able to do that, I'm just going to go ahead and stock up the fridge. That's it. That way I don't have to terrorize the Crystal drive-thru at 2 o'clock in the morning. I've said this for years. It's not that I'm a huge proponent of the legalization of marijuana. I believe genuinely marijuana should be decriminalized. Because I will sit back and say this 100%. You know, you give a person, I'll just go and put it out there, a 6-pack of beer. Or let them hit off a bottle of Jack Daniels. Okay, first off, your IQ does drop. I don't care how you bend it, twist it, fold it, spindle it, mutilate it. You do not spell the word alcohol with the letters IQ. That's a trademark Fast Eddie Lane line. Always has been. But you give that person, you know, a few shots of Jack or a 6-pack of beer, they feel like they're 10 feet tall and bulletproof, getting behind the wheel of a car and become a holy terror. You give that same individual a couple of good bong pipe hits, the only thing they're going to do is terrorize the menu at Waffle House. Yeah, I'd like to get that extra I'd like to get extra tomatoes and hey, I can get shrooms on my hash browns.
I was going to say, all the chips and cookies in your house will be eradicated, even if they're past the expiration.
Even if they're not. If they're within 2 to 3 weeks, maybe. 3 weeks and more, no. Even I'm not that desperate. I'll make oatmeal. Cinnamon and brown sugar, please, and only real cream-based butter. But that's just me. I don't do margarine. I don't do spread. Hell with that noise. But
I wanted to say, you spoke of Ronda Rousey, and I thought it was very telling, that interview she did with Ellen DeGeneres on the Ellen Show, where she said she contemplated suicide.
Yes, and that's where I was actually going to go.
With Holly Holm, you know, saying that if I'm not who I'm supposed to be, what am I? And it made me think, like, how many athletes have you seen admit that in such a public forum? And two, I cannot remember, I meant to Google this earlier. A wise journalist once said that an athlete has 2 deaths. One, their actual death, and the other, retirement.
Right.
And especially in the realm of UFC and boxing, you see athletes that have to build themselves up in such an aura of invincibility that I cannot be beaten, that I am number one, that when it happens, it is such a crushing blow, more than any of us can truly understand.
Well, the thing that I was finally going to get to, and you know me, I digress every once in a while.
Sure.
But I will lay this one out there. I mean, and in the off chance that she might hear these words. Rhonda, you don't know me from Adam's House Cat. But I understand the concept of competitive depression. I understand the concept of what you're going through to a great degree. Not exactly what you're going through. But if you ever hit a dark place like that again, I'm easy to find. And if you want somebody to talk to, shoot the breeze with, yell at, find me. Because there is no reason why you should ever contemplate that extreme type of move. You're not alone, not in any stretch of the imagination. If you need somebody to talk to or a shoulder, all you got to do, find me. I'm reaching out, and it's legit. It's not PR. It's not grandstanding. It's not BS. It's real. That's just me. Although I do reserve the right to emulate and recreate the body paint you're wearing on the Sports Illustrated cover. I want to meet the artist who did that and shake that person's hand, because that's some intricate work that they did.
I was going to say, that guy deserves a pitcher of beer, a dozen wings, and probably a good house salad.
At least. I mean, instead of a regular beer, I'll buy a Guinness on that one. That's special occasion beer. But I'm sitting here looking at the trifecta, there's that word again, of covers with Haley Clausen, who I don't know who the hell she is. I wish she would have actually worn a bikini top, because I think the hand across the boobage for the cover was a little bit much. I wish she would have worn some kind of a top. That way it's not like, okay, we're just going to play all the cards here. And for Ashley Graham, look, I don't consider you to be plus size. I consider you to be an attractive woman.
Hear, hear.
And so for everybody who wants to be the detractors of Ashley Graham, I'm going to sit back and say this. You're entitled to your opinion just like I'm entitled to mine. But please, let those... I mean, I'm sorry. There's no reason to run her down in a public forum in any capacity whatsoever. I I'm going to end up saying something really spiteful and hateful in a minute to the in this microphone, and I'm just going to sit back and say, look, I applaud Sports Illustrated, but they said a plus size model. They didn't give a plus size model. They gave a beautiful woman on the cover. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah. But I tell you what, we're staring at that point, so I'm going to go ahead and flip the script and hand it over in your direction, because I know there's some other stuff that's been happening in the last couple of days that's weighing on your brain. So Shane Knowles, the floor is yours, sir.
Oh, you know, if this is steering towards the last call before we head to the Rodeo Ranch, I've got to bring this up. The NBA All-Star Weekend.
Didn't watch it.
Now, Saturday
I watched
night,
the slam dunk contest. I did watch that.
I was going to say, Saturday night I flipped back and forth between the Sprint Unlimited, which I still call affectionately the Bud Shootout.
Yep.
And those who have heard me speak on this program before know that I'm a follower, a fan of the number one, driven by Jamie McMurray.
Yep.
You lead the first 30 laps, and then you miss every single little wreck, and you still get shuffled out and get wrecked on the last lap. That's just the way it goes in restricted plate racing. But congratulations to Denny Hamlin. Transitioning back over to the NBA All-Star Game weekend, that dunk contest, I know we all live in hyperbole. We all live in a prisoner of the moment. But when there were people tweeting, and it was very vociferous, that was the best dunk contest I've ever seen. I cannot remember, and I've seen them all the way from Larry Nance to Julius Erving, Dominique, Vince Carter, Harold Miner, you name it. I can never remember a dunk contest where 6 straight dunks by competitors get a perfect score of 50. I mean, it literally was that good. And that's my thing. Have we gotten so jaded, those of us that are older viewers of anything, that we can't truly appreciate, wow, it really is unfolding before our eyes, that it's that good? And it's still controversy, as people thought Aaron Gordon should have won over Zach LaVine. But this was what I was going to bring up. The NBA All-Star Game, sure, there's always been high scoring. I mean, that's what you want to see. The fans are there to see their favorite players, the best players, put it in the hoop. But when it becomes a glorified exhibition that would make the Harlem Globetrotters cower down in shame, I mean, at least there's been some semblance of defense played over the years. The old adage is just watch the last 6 minutes and watch NBA Finals-style defense applied. That wasn't even the case this year. It was 92-90 at halftime with a record-setting 194 to, I'm paraphrasing here, 186 score. They didn't even, attempt defense. That was not a game. That was an exhibition, and there lies within the criticism that people apply to the Pro Bowl from the National Football League. Is it time to scrap that format?
No. I say let them run. You know, because I remember back in the 80s and early 90s when the Wild Wild West was actually just blowing things out. And because remember, for years, you had the West, which was offense, and the East, which was defense. Unless, of course, then it was Lakers, Celtics, and it was still going to be scoring over 100 points each.
Sure.
And, you know, we go through these spurts, so to speak, where the meaning of the term All-Star Game, and I have to do this. It's a very, very, very weird line because of the fact that when you play defense in the National Basketball Association, it's physical. This is an exhibition game. This is an all-star game. There should be nominal defense, but it should also be very low impact and contact defense. It should be in your face, yes. But should we worry about the same types of fouls during the all-star game that we worry about during the second half of the season? No. Should there be flagrant fouls? No. Should there be, no. But as far as offense goes, look, I'm a huge fan of offense, but I do appreciate good defense. So I think this may just be one of those years where everybody's sitting back going, look, we got a lot to lose this year. We've already had a lot of injuries this year. We don't need any more injuries. Okay, we're going to cut the defense back and just light up the scoring and see what we can do. And regardless of what happens, everybody who hit that court and was on that bench is an all-star. And I want to go ahead and say I saw the clip on SportsCenter where LeBron and Kobe lined up against each other. And I'm okay with Kobe missing the shot, just like I would have been okay with Kobe making the shot. I wouldn't read too much into it. It's the all-star game. If they had played around like that and Kobe had hit the shot in Cleveland when the Lakers were on the road, then I would have been going, yes. But he overshot the king. But by the same token, it was the All-Star game. So to have that one little moment where you had Kobe and LeBron lined up across it from, face to face for just a moment. I think I've told you the story of Magic's last All-Star game when it was Isaiah and Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they might have been trying to recreate a little moment like that, especially Michael versus Magic and in Kobe versus LeBron. And even Kobe admits he's not the same Kobe that he was 2 years ago, much less last year before the injury. This injury really messed with his mind. His timing's been off. His eyes have been off. His hands have been off. He has not made near the number of shots that you would have assumed, especially the baby shots that Kobe would have originally made without even blinking. So, yeah, I mean, I think he's just appreciating this last ride. And, I mean, I've been really not the biggest Kobe Bryant fan over the last couple of years because I genuinely feel that he's trying to pad his numbers before he walks away from the sport. But I think now he genuinely realizes, hey, look, I can't do the shots this year that I did last year. So I'm just actually going to appreciate the moment. Now I become a Kobe Bryant fan all over again. His legacy is going to be he is one of the best players to ever put on sneaks and never hit the hardwood. But by the same token, when you were able to go out, no, you're not going to go out a world champion. The team's not that great this year. But by the same token, you can always do your legacy justice by going out and remembering this is a damn game. Shane?
Right there with you. I mean, I'm not going to be as hardcore as others. I mean, when I say I shouldn't have said scrap away the entire format, I meant maybe tinker with it a little bit. I would like to see maybe the top two vote getters, which this year would have been Steph Curry and Kobe Bryant, because I thought it kind of added a neat concept to the NFL Pro Bowl, where they did the backyard choosing if Kobe and Stephen Curry were able to choose their own teams. I thought that maybe might have inspired a little bit more competitive spirit between the squads instead of just a glorified dunk exhibition, which is still fun. I mean, and I hate that because if there's a 15-year-old kid that's watching this, they would love it. But, as someone that's seen 30 All-Star games, you kind of get tired, in my opinion, of just, alley-oops and lobs, and, you actually like to see some shooting display. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to say, what brings you to the dance? What made you an all-star? Those skills, those abilities. I like to see some of those on display. And I'm like you, it is an exhibition. It doesn't count in the win-loss column. It's not like Major League Baseball where the winner of this gets home court advantage, the Western of the Eastern Conference, which I still have a huge problem with, is the fact your championship is decided or home field is decided per an exhibition game. There are players in that game but that's another can of worms open for another day. But I think I'd like to see some tinkering done with the NBA All-Star Game format, maybe letting the top two vote getters choose the squads.
And I have not had a chance to ask you about your thoughts on the new charter package for NASCAR.
Yeah, you had texted me that Saturday, and we spoke briefly. I guess I'll rehash for those that don't know in NASCAR now, the top 36 teams are chartered in, I guess kind of like a grandfather clause. You have a guaranteed spot in each of the 36 races for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And, of course, that goes to teams that have been a full-time team in the last decade, which I know a lot of people are asking, why aren't the Woods brothers getting a charter membership, because they haven't exactly been full-time for the last decade. But my thoughts have been clear on this. They will never waver. I think we just need to do away with qualifying altogether now, with 36 cars competing for now 40 spots, not 43, as they've trimmed the field down by 3 cars. It's no longer qualifying. It is positioning. It is jockey. It is arranging. It is not actually... You are never in danger, if you're a top 36 team, of missing any of the 36 races on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series schedule.
This is where I don't like it. You're cutting back 3 teams already. You're cutting out 3 cars from the mix. And you're locking in 36 out of the 40. That's wrong. I would sit back and say this. For the team owners that have been active every year for the last 5 years and have raced a majority of the schedule, 2/3 to 3/4 of the active races of the regular season, not the chase, or every race in the every race, but you could give them what? You got 26 races regular season. 20 out of 26 races for 5 years running. And those team owners get to charter 2 teams. Because when you got Hendrick Motorsports that has 4, Roush that has 3. Yeah, granted, okay, fine. What's his name? Penske's got the daughters, the 2 princesses. But you've also got Joe Gibbs with 4. And you've got a number of teams that have 4 and 3 and 2 cars. Okay, well, if you've got 2 cars, that's fine. And you want to still sell your charter to somebody else like Rick Hendrick, fine. But I think Hendrick, Gibbs, Roush, Penske, all of them, multi-car teams should be able to charter 2 teams. And if they want to buy somebody else's charter, let them. Let them. But I think that you should have, I hate the word parity. To me, parity breeds mediocrity, in my humble opinion. But if you've got 12 full-time team owners that have competed in 20 out of 26 regular season races for the last 5 years, and you give those 12 2 charters, and then for everybody else, let the chips fall where they may, I think it will breed competition to a greater level from the smaller single op teams. I mean, look at Furniture Row. They've had how many? They've been a single car team for what, the last 4 years? It doesn't affect them. And if they want to try to field a second team, okay, well, guess what? They can't be chartered because that second team has not competed in 20 out of 26 regular season races for the last 5 years. Do I think that this will chap the ass of people like Rick Hendrick? Maybe. Because who is he going to protect? Do you protect Chase Elliott in the new driver of the 24 car? Do you protect 6-time? Do you protect NASCAR's most popular driver, Dale Jr.? Do you charter in Casey Kane? Think about that. It leads to some intriguing circumstances. Well, if Rick Hendrick wants to go ahead and buy 2 more charters to protect all 4 of his drivers, that's fine. Let him do it. But I don't think any team should have started out with more than 2. Because I personally believe, and I got into a serious discussion about this with the person who runs the Orange Cone Twitter account. You have people who go across state lines out of their geographic regions to go to different races to watch a team that is not one of your Big 12. You have people that will go watch a single driver team. You have people that, it's like, and he brought up, it's like, well, people aren't going to remember who came in last unless you run a website or run a radio show that's specifically dedicated to finishing last. Yes, but by the same token, you can have 10 last place finishers in 10 different races, and one of your favorites may finish last in one race. You have to, if you're going to put the playing field in place, you have to make it to where there is incentive for smaller teams to continue to build and improve. Am I wrong, Shane?
No, I'm sitting here thinking, what is the incentive for smaller single car or 2-car teams to continue if they did not, or if they were not granted a charter? And I just can't help but think, with the Daytona 500 coming up, the Great American Race this weekend, one of my favorite portions, I don't know how you feel about this, but the Gatorade Duels.
Yeah.
Those were so much fun for so long because it was the one unique qualifying concept for a NASCAR race that was determined by actual races.
Yeah.
And now we have dwindled this down to, in each of the 2 Gatorade 125s, there will be 1 transfer spot available per race. I mean, I don't know if somebody gets their kicks off of that, more power to them. But to me, it's just anticlimactic.
It really is. I mean, look, I think NASCAR has painted themselves into a weird corner where people are starting to see, even more so than the NFL, that NASCAR is profit driven, which I don't mind people making a profit. Don't ever get me wrong. Yay, capitalism. I am a huge fan of capitalism. But when it comes to an industry, that's like saying, okay, I'm Roger Goodell of the National Football League, and since the New England Patriots have been in the playoffs for 5 out of the last 6 years, we're just going to go ahead and say that they're in the playoffs. And they're going to represent the AFC East. And since let's pick an NFC team. Let's go ahead and go with the Green Bay Packers. No, the Seattle Seahawks.
Packers.
Seattle Seahawks. They've been in the conference. They've been to the conference championship game, or they've been in the playoffs the last 3 consecutive years. We're just going to go ahead and call them the NFC West champions. But the wild card spot's open for grabs. There's 2 wild card teams that can, hey, there's a chance you could get in there. That's what I equate it to. If you wanted, and to me, that's just utter bogus bull. You see my simile on this, right?
I do. It's almost giving, one of those teams that's out of the Charter 36, you're almost telling them, you're not going to be guaranteed, or you're not going to get the opportunity, truly, to be leading the points as we get near the chase. You're going to have to make it every week, where some of these guys, and this is one of the problems I had with qualifying, when Dale Jarrett, I believe back in 2007, did not even make a qualifying attempt at a particular track. And I'm sitting here thinking, screaming, I like Dale Jarrett. I've always respected DJ. But if he's not going to make a qualifying attempt, he should not be in the race. Champions Provisional be damned.
The only time a Champions Provisional should ever be used is at the Daytona 500.
Mm-hmm.
I will stand by that.
I was going to say, Darrell Waltrip in his last year, I think out of those 36 races, he qualified Champions Provisional 20 times, and it got kind of morbidly ridiculous.
Yeah, it gets old very quickly. It really does. But like I said, look, am I going to stop watching NASCAR because of it? No. Am I going to cancel my subscription to the WWE Network because of it? No. I was
going to say, we're looking at, not to interrupt you, looking at it's not the professional wrestling you and I grew up on. It's not the NASCAR we grew up on. But at the end of the day, wrestlers still get counted down 1, 2, 3, and cars still make left-hand turns. I guess that's what they're looking at.
Watkins Glen.
Thank you for bringing up those S terms.
Sonoma. Twice a year we have to understand there's another direction to turn.
And there's a topic for another time, putting a road course race in Texas, which I am all an advocate for.
Say that again?
I am all an advocate for putting a road course race, either Watkins Glen or Sonoma, in the actual chase.
I thought Watkins Glen was.
It is not.
That sucks. That sucks. That ultimately sucks. Yeah, there should be a road course in the chase. That's true because Watkins Glen is a fall race.
Too many one-milers in the chase for me.
Okay, look, and this is something that I'm going to sit back and say. If you're going to cut the number of drivers, then I think that anytime they go to a half-mile track or a three-quarter-mile track, they should cut the number of cars to 20.
Mm-hmm.
We've had this discussion on air before. But continue. Floor's yours. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, that's all for me. The NASCAR charter system and the NBA All-Star Game, I'll reserve anything else I've got for this Saturday.
Oh, yeah. We'll be opening fire. Want to go ahead and throw this one out before we cut. This is dated February 13th, the original story. Of course, CM Punk underwent surgery to repair a herniated disc in his back. UFC's Dave Schaller retweeted that everything went well. Schaller also noted that Punk was in great spirits and out to prove a lot of people wrong. Duh. Punk is expected to be out of action training for 4 to 6 weeks, or out of training and action for 4 to 6 weeks. It's believed that his debut will probably come at UFC 200 in July, but that is not, at this point in time that I know of, that hasn't been officially announced. It's prospective fight against currently 2-0 Mickey Gall. Now, when news broke out of Punk needing surgery that recently, Ryback took the opportunity to knock Punk on Twitter. A lot of people will remember back during Punk's Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, Punk accused Ryback of being dangerous in the ring and injuring him. Punk said, quote, "Either you're doing it on purpose and you suck, or you're dumb as F word. Which is it? Question mark, end quote. Punk also claimed that Ryback replied to him in a dejected tone, I'm dumb as F word. I'm going to sit back and say this. Ryback really doesn't have much room to knock anybody.
Not for their ring work, certainly.
I mean, look, I was a bigger fan of Skip Sheffield than I am of Ryback. I believe that Alberto Del Rio is more dangerous in the ring than Ryback is. I'm just, you know me, I've never been a Alberto Del Rio fan. That's just me, though. Ryback does have his upsides. But I will just sit back and say, I'm still trying to figure out this Odark the Great. And yes, I know it's Grado under a mask. But I just, as it stands, like I say, and I have been one of those who from square one, the minute that CM Punk announced the fact that he wanted to train for mixed martial arts, I took that on with guarded optimism because I know he's got a Muay Thai background. But I'm going to lay this one out there. I said it then and I'll say it all over again. I wish him the absolute best. Win, lose, or draw, I hope he finds in his heart what he's looking for. If he goes on to go 5-0 in his first 5 fights, hell yeah. If he goes 0-5 in his first 5 fights, hey, at least he had the guts to chase it and follow his dream. So, granted, I miss him being in WWE. But I'm going to lay it out there like this. And this has been said on more than one occasion by so many different people. And a lot of us get knocked for saying it. If you don't at least make the effort to follow your dream, to chase your dream, to pursue your dreams, then you're the only one to blame. Not anybody else. This station was a dream of mine before I realized it could be a possibility. Sure, I'd love to be back on terrestrial radio. But you know something? I appreciate what has been done to build. Look, I've busted my ass to build this station. There's days I could do more. I'll agree to that. There's days I could do something. And I'll agree to that too. But I give Punk credit for chasing the dream. I give Punk credit for trying. And if he succeeds, that's great. If he doesn't succeed, no, I don't believe he should get a participation trophy. He's getting paid. I'm sorry. Money in my pocket is my favorite participation trophy. Isn't it yours, Shane?
It is indeed. And I think back to the old saying, those who can, and those who can't criticize.
Pretty much.
Kudos to him for stepping out of his comfort zone, out of his element, and giving him a shot. And this injury, unfortunately, is a setback, but and I'm not even going to call him CM right here. I'm going to call him Phil. Thinking of how Phil is, I know that he is going to go into that first fight, and every fight he's got, if it's 1, if it's 30, with the same determination he brought to pro wrestling. And that makes me root for him because he seems such a genuine guy, and I wish him nothing but the best as he pursues this.
And I will throw to you on that note, sir, shameless plugs.
Oh, check us out. Coming up this weekend, and by us, I mean the Peach State Wrestling Alliance on www.peachstatewrestlingalliance.com. You can check out the full card for February the 20th, including several matches we didn't even speak of. So there's a teaser. And you can email us for tickets at pwafanbase@yahoo.com or get in touch with us at our Facebook page, peachstatewrestlingalliance.com, February 20th. This is the last event before the actual Heritage Title Tournament commences on March the 5th.
Looking forward to this, definitely. I want to go ahead and throw this one out there real quick, folks. I will run down the broadcast schedule very quickly, and it starts with tomorrow, February the 17th. The To Be Determined show returns live, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Time. On February the 18th at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time, it will be Corner to Corner. And on the 20th, the Beyond Ringside Shooters Gallery returns 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central Time. Do we still have the picture of the cause on a milk carton? Yes, we do. Hashtag Lost Cause. LOSTCOSZ.
Sorry, my apologies.
Oh, no, it's fine. I threw that one at him the other day and he lost it too. He said, that's probably one of the best ones you've ever come up with, Eddie. I said, thank you very much. But once again, that's 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central for the Shooters Gallery. This coming Sunday, the 21st, you got it. BR Live returns 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 Central Time. And the Midnight Black Bass returns at 11 p.m. Eastern, 10 p.m. Central Time. And, of course, on the 23rd, the Double Play is back. Global Championship Wrestling's GCW Radio at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 Central. And then at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, Beyond Ringside, Back to Basics. You got us all the way through. At Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live is the Facebook fan page. The home is BeyondRingside.com. We are also on LinkedIn and Google Plus as well. On the replay side of life, once again, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spreaker, Podomatic, a number of different sources, including Downcast for Apple, and the podcast tab on your iPhone or iPad. Or iMac, I believe it's up there as well. I don't know. I own an iPhone, not an iPad or an iMac, but hey, trust me on this one. I'm learning little by little. I finally learned how to screenshot. Hey, 2 buttons. Okay, just don't do it on Snapchat. Okay, don't. You send the memo. You've been screenshotted. Schmidtke,
yeah, I hate that Snapchat's that one app that lets you know when someone took a screenshot. It's like, that's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, who's? The girl who's sending you? Never mind.
The recipient or the sender.
Yeah, there you go. Of course, by the same token, I don't get any pictures on Snapchat half the time. It's like, okay, fine, I'm on there. I'm just going to go ahead and probably keep that account open in case people feel sorry for me. It's like, hey, we'll send Eddie a pity picture. Oh, and did you see oh, God, I have got to do this. I want to say a very heartfelt thank you once again to the fine folks at Pazzo over in Hoover. The pizza was effing awesome. I don't know if you've seen the pictures of it or not.
I haven't, but you said the word pizza and my mouth started drooling, literally.
Go over to my Facebook friends page.
Okay.
And scroll down a little bit and catch the pictures in which I've been tagged from this past Saturday, where myself and the tribe from Studio One went up to this place. It's called Pazzo. I can't remember the intersection, but it's Montgomery Highway, right across from Crest Cadillac. 24-inch pizza. And it was good. They have a 32-inch. And this thing is a effing monster. And it's good. I had the 24, or actually we had the 24. One half of it was technically a meat lovers. The other half I had the spinach chicken Alfredo. Damn.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, the Alfredo was fresh made. It was homemade. And you could tell by the garlic. Oh my God, it was good. So for my friends in the Central Alabama area, please check them out and call early, please, because we got there around 1:30 and it was standing room only with about 20 people in line going out the door. That's how good this place is. They just happened to have, and it was a little bit cooler. I mean, but it was a beautiful Saturday. And you get in the direct sun. They had 2 picnic tables set up outside, direct line of sunlight. And even with a gentle cool breeze, it was perfect. I could not have asked for much better, other than a hammock and a beer. And that pizza? Oh, hell yeah. Guinness. That's all I can say. Check it out next time you're in Hoover. The place is called Pazzo. Want to say for everybody, of course, in the central Alabama area, come see me this coming Friday night at Buffalo Wild Wings in Alabaster, USA at the Promenade Shopping Center. Start time for Friday night karaoke is going to be 9 o'clock p.m. We go until the boss tells me to shut up. Let me get over here because I've got to rearrange the rotator real quick. And I have also got to find this one because I've been meaning to mention it. You heard me make a reference to the fact that I'm going to be unable to attend and be able to do commentary this coming Saturday for Peach State Wrestling Alliance for my friends over in the Trussville area. I want you to drop by and say hi. It is a brand new venue called Cahaba Oaks. Be starting at 9 o'clock p.m. Karaoke will kick off, and I believe we're going to take it till 1 a.m. So once again, over in Trussville, drop by and say hi Saturday night at Cahaba Oaks. This is going to be one of the we're actually first time there and first time doing karaoke in that venue. And to Angel Harrison, thank you so much for the opportunity. I do greatly appreciate it. Once again, this Friday night at Buffalo Wild Wings, Saturday night at Cahaba Oaks. Folks, thanks again for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed the show. We have a great time bringing it to you. Live programming, of course, resumes Wednesday night. I'll just go ahead and quit saying today and tomorrow. I'll say today, but not tomorrow. Wednesday, the 17th, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. And thank you to everybody for listening to GCW Radio a little bit earlier tonight. Thank you to Howard C. Cross and Veronica Fairchild for coming on. Mad Dog, always a pleasure co-hosting with you, brother. For my tag team partner, Mr. Shane Knowles.
Thank you guys for listening, as always, here on the family of Beyond Ringside Radio Networks. And now to go medicate my mouth.
Oh, there are so many one-liners you just set me up for.
Oh, can I share with you? I did have the opportunity before I came. Are you familiar with the comedian Emo Phillips?
Oh, God, yes.
Oh, the master of the one-liner, when you said one-liner. I had the opportunity to check him out Thursday night at the Laughing Skull, which is located actually in the back of the Vortex restaurant in Atlanta. And I've seen him over the years, but one-liner he had in particular Thursday, and I'll leave you with this. He was talking about growing up in Alabama. He went to a Baptist summer camp. And while at the summer camp, he was in the fellowship hall, and there's a jar of strawberry jam that was just too tempting. And he grabbed the strawberry jam, and he ran out back, and he's in the trees, and he's just devouring that strawberry jam with all his carnal desires. And he's got it all over him. And his camp counselor busted him behind the trees, and he said, "Oh, my gosh." He said, "Emo, have you been born again?" And he said, "No, I'm sorry, sir. It's just strawberry jam."
Oh. That's really bad, but really funny. The one and only Emo. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if he's actually listening right now or not, but I would like to say thank you to one of my favorite comedians of all time for accepting my friend request over on Facebook, Gallagher. I don't.
Oh, good old Leo Gallagher.
Yep, the one, the only. I've been a huge fan of his for many, many years, and I just happened to see that he had a legitimate Facebook friends page, so I thought that I would go ahead and shoot a friend request over in the off chance, and about 2 weeks later, I got a memo going back that he actually approved it, and I just want to sit back and say to one of my favorite personalities, my favorite comedians, my favorite entertainers of all time, Gallagher, you damn right he is. Enough said. It's that simple. Until next time. This is Fast Eddie Lane saying adios, das vidania, hasta luego, auf Wiedersehen, ciao, sayonara, adieu, arrivederci, farewell, abbasinio, au revoir, until we meet again, my friends. Aloha means bye-bye. Join us right here next time as we all go beyond ringside. Bye-bye. Actually, bye for now.